a good reason that they want to share. Why do you want software in production? And the sticky notes is so I can put them on the board. Here's one. To get feedback from users. Okay. Who has another good reason? Here we have one. Or we have faster feedback, faster to market, faster failure, and return on investment. Okay. And here we have produce revenue. Okay. Fast feedback, bring value to our customers. More reasons. Oh. Do you want it to be? Sorry, letters are too small for my.
You want it to be reachable. You want it to reach your users.
You want it to reach your users. Good. Oh, there's two reasons. Generate business value, get paid. Well, that's a good reason. Oh, here's another one. Finish development. Oh. And here? In production, it's done. Anyone else? Oh,
here.
Some more. Means money.
And means that customers can use it.
And customers use it. And here we have two reasons as well. There is some overlap here, but because the customer wants it, because the business needs it. Good reasons. And here we have two more. Sorry. Because it will make no sense. I need my glasses. Sorry. Because it makes no sense to.
It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
It doesn't make any sense otherwise. It's not a good idea if you need glasses to read and not bring them.
It makes us feel fulfilled that we reached our goal.
It makes us feel fulfilled that we made our goals.
And that we want to go.
Okay. And finally, this is a small one. I'll read it later, sorry. Someone will read it for me. To increase the business value of the company. All right. I guess there are more reasons out there. But to be honest, quite a few of these were more or less overlapping. But we want to get it available for our customers. And we want to have people using it. The two reasons I came up with on the clicker were customer wants the service and we want feedback. And the question I tend to ask is, was this really what we wanted or needed? Yeah. But it seems that we want to create some kind of value, and it seems that we want to get feedback so we know if we did the right thing or the wrong thing. And then there's a lot of variation around that theme, which I will definitely study more when I have glasses on. The next question is, how do you prefer to install software? 2 minutes. Let's increase that to 1 minute. And how do you prefer to install software? Please write stickers on that one as well. That was close to 1 minute. Do I have any good ways of installing software? Oh, there's one, there's two. Let's start here. Provisioning tools, automatic, okay, and base images, okay. Automatically, one-click install, without risk and stress, or That's a nice one. I don't like being stressed. Through a package manager. Oh, have you got the slides? Use it from cloud, okay? And here we have two. Wizard and click, and apt-get install. No, apt-get install. Ah, your else are not my key. That's cool. Anyone else? Here we have one. And now I'll bring my glasses. I prefer not to install software. Okay. By network push by Salesforce. Yeah. Sorry?
By software package.
Ah, by packing software packages. Okay. Fast and easy. Okay. I don't click one button. Okay. So 2 people at least don't want to install anything. Fair enough. It's interesting. I thought there were like one answer on this question, but obviously not. So I came up with package for the operating system. I decided that, well, I do want to install some stuff because that's one way of sharing it. So that's not what I wanted. In our case, we used Red Hat Linux boxes, so therefore it was really easy if we could use RPMs, which is, if you don't know, it's a package manager for that flavor of Linux. Basically, instead of apt-get, you yum install and then package name. Pretty much the same thing, just another way of doing it. And -y, so you don't get any stupid questions. Someone wrote one click button. Yeah, that's a good idea. Although I don't want to click the button. Because that I don't want to do. I want to automate this. So in our case, the best fit we could have was to create RPM packages and make them available somehow, somewhere, and then automate the process. The particular case I'm thinking of was a Java web application. So in this case, yeah, just put it into an RPM. Turns out that's not very hard. We use Gradle to build the stuff. And there is a really nice plugin for Gradle called OS Package that Netflix has created, so it's open source. I'm going to show you a configuration on what you need to do to get an RPM from Gradle build, which is, yeah, it works. But before we do that, let's just see, where did we start? I did not participate in this project from the beginning. I entered after like half a year or something. But anyhow, it has been described to me as it was chaos. So this is an image describing chaos. Fractal chaos, if I understand correctly. But the process that, or sorry, the tooling that were available were basically Subversion somewhere. They had Jenkins installed. They built their tools using Apache Ant, and they created a zip file. And then someone copied that zip file from the Jenkins machine, copied to the target machine, unzipped it, and hoped that it worked. That was their previous approach. And, well, parts of it actually works okay. The manual part of it, not so well. I'm not convinced that zip files is the best way to distribute software, but it's a quite good way to distribute files. Before I came there, someone created this image to describe the goal of the project. So this is in Swedish, but you might recognize some stuff. Anyway, yeah, requirements, then they had some screen, blah, 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 blah. So this was a fantasy someone created. So what I tried to do was focus on this part, because this was, in my look at least, the easy part. We were supposed to change the version control system using Git instead of Subversion. Jenkins was already there, Gradle instead of Ant, and then make sure we distribute it somehow. And someone decided that Puppet, that's the best thing in the world. considering the team, which was unfortunate because Puppet turned out to be the most complicated tool we actually used in this setup. Mostly because they didn't even try to use packages before. They tried to use it as an imperative tool to unzip files and do stuff with it. That didn't end well. So my view of this, hey, this was easy. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turned out lots of things could go wrong. But given what we had, and given that we should change some stuff, my initial view of this was that this is just a matter of tooling. So bring out the toolbox, select some new tooling, and let's get started. So the build pipeline that we actually created, we still had developers. They were still a little bit diverse group. We had both females and males, those sorts of things. So the biggest change, or the first change, was that we shouldn't use Subverse, we should use Git instead. And they put a lot of effort into migrating into the repositories, including all the history. Nothing I can recommend. It's possible, it's a lot of work. And I don't really see the benefit of it. If you're interested in history, keep the Subversion repository. The engine was also already there, no need to change it. It does its job. I think it's quite okay sometimes. One of the big changes was that the add script was replaced using Gradle. And then we used this Netflix plugin to create RPMs. And that was easy. That is really easy, to be honest. Next thing we had to do was make the RPMs available. That was not so easy. It turned out that you need some kind of YAML repository somewhere. It turns out that Artifactory supports this. Use Artifactory Pro. So I had to start out telling the guys designing there that hey, you need to purchase license for program. And it might be, I don't know how much it was. It might cost the same as one consulting day for me. That took them many days to decide. Anyhow, yeah, it's a government agency. So it's not about price, it was just a matter of, it wasn't in the original plan, so can we change the original plan? Well, it could be a good idea to adapt. The problem was that there is no good tooling from Gradle to make sure that an RPM package is made available in Artifactory. So I got a good chance to write the Gradle plugin. Fun. I like programming, so that was something nice. So that was something we had to do, make sure that it was available in the YAML repository. Next thing I wanted to do was to make sure that we could run Puppet. One way of running Puppet is automated every half an hour or something, and then if there is something new available somewhere, it will be installed if we have set that the latest version of this should always be installed. However, the setup here was that they didn't trust the Puppet manifests that had been created, so they didn't run them unless they did manually. And I didn't want that. So I had to created a Gradle plugin again, where I could list the hosts that I wanted Puppet to be executed on. So instead of allowing the Puppet agent to contact the Puppet master every 30 minutes or something, I actually SSH'd onto the box and executed Puppet from script. So how do we do this then? Well, where's the code? Let's start with the Netflix to RPM plugin. How many in here is using Gradle as a build script? One, two, a few of you. The rest of you, are you using Maven and Maven? Few Maven and anyone? Okay, sorry. But like it came along anyway. So this is the specification for building an RPM using Gradle in this case. And I hope you can read it. It's not that much, to be honest. The first part, package, version, release. basically it says the name of the RPM, the version number of the RPM, and then attach a build number to it. Which operating system are we aiming for, and which user should we execute in this one? So in this case, root. Then it's possible to specify a few shell scripts that will do magic things using Bash. So what I'm doing here is defining 5 different shell scripts that will do stuff in different order during the installation. Then you define where you want it to be installed. And I'm not sure that opt/npm status is the best place. It's the best place, but it's one place. Could someone bring me a glass of water? Thank you. Next magic thing is that we needed to rename the jar file that was created. The jar file in this case contains a name, version number, and a lot of different things. So therefore, I had to replace the version number and my dashes with nothing. Sometimes snapshot with nothing. And why? Well, the reason for this is that we had a startup script that actually just pointed to Java minus jar, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want to modify that one just because the version number was modified. So, therefore, the renaming. Did we do anything else? Well, we did install this startup script from this specific position. And finally, we wanted to run as a service. Thank you. And the good way to do that was to make sure that we had a soft link from etc init.b. As easy as that. This part from there is kind of optional. You don't have to do that if you're just creating the RPM. I had to do it so the files that we were using got good names, so that's it. So creating an RPM, it's not black magic. It's not even very hard. The next thing that we needed to do was to make sure that it was available in Artifactory. So I asked JFrog how to do that, and I got several answers actually. They were all bad or worse, which was very unfortunate. So I ended up writing my own graded plugin, which meant that in the graded build, all I had to do was this. Publish somewhere and do it after we've done these things. In this case, we don't even see the name of the server because I hard-coded the default location. So I shouldn't have to have a lot of parameters here. It made perhaps the plugin a little bit less flexible, but in this use case, we didn't have to have any settings, which I found was very good. Next thing that we wanted to do was to make sure that the Puppet was executed properly after we had made the new version available in Artifactory. And yet another plugin where I had 3 parameters, UTB, that means den in Swedish. So we had 3 different hosts that we wanted to install this on. And therefore, we would execute the Puppet in this order on these hosts. Just to make sure that we deployed on one server and got the possibility to do some magic there, and on the next one, and on the next one. And if we should have had more than one server, say that we should have, this is production, say that we should have had 2 servers, then we would have been able to support zero downtime deployment, since this one was blocking, and we would first do one server and then the next server. The source code for these plugins are available on GitHub if anyone is interested, and there's a link at the end of the presentation where you can find them. But it wasn't really anything magic. So what were the problems then? Everything has been so nice and easy and so forth. Well, The biggest problem I had was that the manager, or the managers, they didn't get it. So they didn't care, they couldn't understand what the problem was with us doing manual things on the servers. They couldn't understand the benefits of having a short downtime deployment. I mean, who cares if it's down a couple of hours or not? Well, yeah, maybe you don't, but the guys who actually can't see and want to listen to a spoken book in the middle of the night would be upset if it doesn't work. So, without caring what they thought, we did it anyway, or I did it anyway. So part of this was actually Sundberg, which I guess you shouldn't do if you're a consultant, but it's something you have to do it anyway. Snapshot versions. Yeah, some people had issues with the concept of snapshots. We can't install a snapshot into production, and they couldn't accept that, well, don't use snapshots then. Use the build number as a qualifier instead. But the concept of snapshots that we inherited from Maven more or less is complicated. And I'm not sure it's a good idea to have the concept of snapshots in Maven either, but it's even hard code in the source code, so if you're using Maven, you want to get rid of it. If you're using Gradle, you can choose. But that was a mental block for some people that, well, I can't install this into production because it's snapshot version. Has it changed in the last version you did? No. It was an issue for some people. We also had a really bad Puppet setup, which made that we requested new stuff from Red Hat at every execution, which meant that our service was blocked, on and off. I think that you're allowed to ask like 100 times a day for each server if there's anything new from Red Hat. If you run every 30 minutes and you have 2 or 3 requests to Red Hat every execution, you can't do much more before you get banned. So that was actually a problem for us. What we should have had, I guess, was an internal YAML repository with everything in, and not even try to ask Red Hat for anything new. But that was a bit out of my control to do that, so I wasn't able to do more than bitch about it, which I obviously did, because I have problems keeping my mouth shut sometimes. Another problem was that if you have the word snapshot in your version number, you can't create an RPM package, because the RPM standard doesn't allow the word snapshot there. That would be at the end of the version number, there should be a build number, so there should be an integer there. And that's why we couldn't use snapshots when we created some stuff. So in this case, I don't even think we had snapshot in our version 1 from the beginning. We just do version 1.0 and then appended the build number on it. Another problem that is perhaps a little bit out of scope here, but for some reason, someone thought that we should have different branches for different Puppet manifest for development, for testing, and for production. And then, if you wanted to promote something, then just merge from one branch to another branch, which may sound like a great idea until you try it. That does not work. Let me put it like that. Which was very complicated and a very sensitive topic, because the guy who had to define this, he was the lead developer, and the lead developer, you can't mess with him for some reason, and you can't say it doesn't work because he's a lead developer. Yeah. So if someone suggested you have different branches for development, for testing, and for production, for Puppet manifest in this case, and just merge in between, run that direction, or at least ask them to show how it works, and then try to install a few different things at different places, and you will find out that it is complicated. So, did I learn anything from this then? Yes, I would say I learned that you should start small. I think I already knew that, but start small, and remember that every improvement counts. even small improvements. If you improve 1% every day, that's 37 times in a year. Although I don't expect anyone here to work 365 days a year, so let's assume that we're working 200 days, which is on the low end. Then you have 7 times performance improvement during 1 year. So even if you just do small things, every little thing counts. And so, almost 7 times better in a year, that's not bad, while keeping a stable pace. Remember, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. We should do this for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years. You will make a lot of mistakes, unfortunately. You will hurt your thumb. It will happen. And then, when it happens, you can react in a few different ways. But quoting Boyd Buddick, you either learn or you succeed. So making mistakes, I think that's okay. But making mistakes and not learning from them, that's not okay. So don't do that. If you can, version control everything. We did not version control our Jenkins setup, for example. I think it's possible. I haven't done it. But I would really love to see a situation where the build server blows up and I get a new one up and running in 10 minutes. That would be great. So version control everything. Test automating, of course, but make sure that they're fast, your tests, and make sure that they're reliable. If you have flickering tests, do whatever it takes to fix them, or remove them. I actually think it's better to not have a test that is failing sometimes for random reasons than have a test that gives me false positives or false negatives. So false positives creates distrust, and distrust will kill you. Make sure you can trust your tests and make sure that they are fast. Practicing. You need to practice. And you first have to do it in the test environment, and then in production. There's a quote: amateurs practice until they can make it. Professionals until they can't fail. Is anyone a musician here? Have a musician in the room? One? Yeah? Then you know what it means. I am as well. This is me playing the melody in Jump for Joy. I can't say that I'm a professional trumpet player. I'm an amateur. I do my best, but sometimes I fail. So remember that this is a journey. If you can, make sure you're prepared. Get a map. Try to understand where you're headed. Set the direction. You can't know exactly all the details. And remember, you will never be done. I don't think so. There's always something you can improve. And perfect is not a place. It is a direction. That way at the moment. Well, that's way at the moment. So my conclusion has to be continuous deployment. It's easy. It's not a technical problem. Okay, there are technical issues, but it is actually more of a people problem. It's scary with changes. And it happens that there are managers who don't constantly understand why we should do this. So it's a people problem, prepare for that, sharpen your sales skills, make sure you know the technology, but it's not the technology that is the problem. I did write a blog post about this case. I will make these slides available so you can find it easily afterwards. The great plugins I referred to are available on GitHub. 2 of them at mtm.se and 1 at the Nebula project that Netflix hosts. So working software in production, that's the definition of that. Thank you for listening.